Well, if they say his English is not so good, that means their English isn't very good when they said so. Yeah, of course, the character they're talking about is the one I've just mentioned. And he is this Danish character that I have created called Dr. Van Helsingør from Elsinore. And he was created way back in 1986. My goodness, when I did a production of Dracula. Now, most people know that the man who hunted down Dracula, his name was Dr. Van Helsing, and he was a Dutchman. Well, when I was writing the show based on Dracula, I wanted to use this character, and I looked at the word Helsing, and I thought, that looks like Helsingør. I thought, I know what I'll do. I won't make him Dutch. I'll make him Danish, and I'll call him Dr. Van Helsingør from Elsinore. So that's how he came about. Then I decided that nobody else could possibly play this character except me, because all the actors I use are English actors who can't speak with a Danish accent the way I can do. So I decided that meant that I would have to play this character and dress up as a man. And I wanted to disguise myself as much as possible. So I wear a red beard and glasses and a silly hat and everything and a jackaset. And I come on as this character. Now, over the years, Dr. Van Helsingør has become a running character, as I said before. He is my running figure in every Crazy Christmas Cabaret since 1986. One year, you say people complain that I have used him because he speaks bad English. But one year they complained because I didn't put him in the show. And people actually refused to leave the auditorium until Dr. Van Helsingør came on stage. So he was kind of popular with those teachers, at least, or those members of the audience. But Dr. Van Helsingør does speak appallingly bad English, I have to say. And as such, he's a big, big exception in Denmark because the Danes speak wonderful English. And he's very exceptional. And I think sometimes you can learn and use him as a kind of demonstration model for how not to speak English. So that when students listen to Dr. Van Helsingør talking, instead of saying, oh, he will say over the head not, for example. Or when he's talking about his own name, because his name is Bent Van Helsingør. He, of course, then found out, somebody told him that the name Bent in English is a slang word for being homosexual. And he said, det kommer helt bag på mig. This is coming completely behind me. Now, this kind of comment, of course, has double meanings and has lots of humorous meanings. And that way I can use Dr. Van Helsingør to put lots of funny things into the dialogue of the show. When people misunderstand what he says, he's a doctor, so when he talks to somebody on stage, he says, I am a good lay. He, of course, means a lay, but in English, a lay is somebody who's good in bed. So when he says, I'm a good lay, they go, oh, doctor, really? So I can play around with the language. So the reason that I use Dr. Van Helsingør is to have fun with the Danish and English language, or Danglish, as I would call it. So the teachers who complain, I would say, instead of complaining, maybe use him as an example as how not to get your students to speak English.